It's another edition of Career Connect, and today I'm so excited about our subject. And really, it is about first impressions. Can looks be deceiving? And how important is your appearance, specifically in the interview? I'm joined today by Lauren Clark, from the HR executive from Mint, and Tsepo from Wits. Now, before we get rolling, could you guess what Tsepo is studying?
I would never have guessed.
Like you look to me like you're a first year BA student that hangs around East Campus when it's not busy protesting.
Yeah, no, I'm not a BA student. I'm an actuarial science student. I'm doing my second year. Do I look first year? I never thought I looked first year. I thought people like to say I look like I'm older, but yeah. So that might be deceiving. I'm not what I am, basically, yeah.
If you got an interview at Discovery next week, would you go like this?
I would go like this, but I don't think it would be appropriate for them to. I don't think they'll be willing to accept this. I don't know, just because in corporate, there's so many strict rules as to how do people appear, because of the product or service that they're selling, and are you representing them, So it'll be kind of difficult, but maybe me, I'd really want to go look like this and actually present myself, and for them to actually accept what I have to offer in terms of skills and not how I look.
So Lauren, what do you think about this when you hear this, and given all your experience in this field?
So I think it's incredibly spot on. Having been in HR for as long as I have, I can see in the last 4 years the landscape has changed tremendously on how human capital is viewed. Companies have had to take a huge step towards embracing what they call millennials. I don't know what you want to be called. I think nobody wants to be branded. Afrillennials. That's very cool. I think the biggest thing has been the learning curve across the multi-generational workplace that we have, where people have to kind of step away from everyone's in a block and we all behave this way, to we are a group of individuals that are working for a common purpose for this organization. And there are slow-moving industries, the slow-turning ships, the financial industries in particular. And a lot of it is because appearance is associated with risk perception. So, you want somebody who doesn't look risky. And if that's the perception, I would say, however, having got more and more involved with data analytics and big data, which is massive globally at the moment, I personally think that this appearance is fantastic for what Tsepo does or what is studying, because data analytics is no longer a pencil pushing in a cubicle job. It's actually, you've got to know your data. You've got to live and breathe with your data. And he clearly does.
So I spoke with a company yesterday, and they said they've hired a microbiologist and a geneticist to do their data analytics. And I think that speaks to the point. Now, it's very important for you, Tsepo, to look and feel like Tsepo.
Yes.
So now, what happens if you find the dream job, but they tell you, Tsepo, you can't look the way you do. We have a dress code, or we have a certain look, but it is the actual work looks amazing to you.
I would find it very sad, because what I still now do not understand is that at the workplace, depending on either it's a service or a product, I'm there to add value, right? Now, the company pays me for value added, So what I don't understand is, why should I, after hours, why should I not be me? It's like you hired me for 24 hours because I should keep on representing your service or your product because I'm part of you. Even on social media, wherever I go, I need to represent the company that I'm working for. And while as after hours, you don't pay me for those hours, you understand? So this is where, you know, I'd really find it difficult to understand. And it would be sad. I mean, if I had to go to a company whereby I can't be me, I mean, at the end of the day, I love the job. I would have to conform to the policies, the dress code, whatever. But after that, I'm going to do my own thing. And I know there are policies involved into social media, you know, restrictions. If I was to associate with a company, I would have to conform to their policy on social media on what to tweet, what not to tweet. You know, it's like two lives in one. It's very difficult.
So Lauren, this case lands on your desk. How would you deal with it?
Very interesting, again, because I think it's a complete perception thing, and we were just touching on this next door when we were talking about your relationship to your company and what is the expectation. And, you know, if I take the generation above mine, where that lifetime loyalty, you just completely committed to your company, and your company actually governs every other aspect of your life, that has evolved, you know, to my generation, where there's a far more acute focus on work-life balance, to Tsepo's generation, where it's all blended and there shouldn't be these expected boundaries. And I do think that it's a give-take relationship, a little bit of patience from Tsepo's side on the industry to change. But at the same time, you know, there's a reputation involved on both sides.
Yes.
And the reputation is what builds the business. So our social media policy requests staff, if they choose to associate with us on social media platforms, they need to comply with our social media policy. They don't have to. We don't require them to list that they work at Mint. And we don't require them to tweet on behalf of Mint. But if they choose to do that, then we ask them to respect our social media guidelines. And we've moved away from the prescriptive guidelines of you will do this or you won't do that, to make decisions, make wise decisions. You know, if you are not 100% sure, then don't do or say anything until such time as you've asked a friend or a peer for backup, you know. Because I don't, you know, if you follow Twitter and you listen to the different generations just about what's happened in the USA at the moment, just seeing how people are responding to that and what they're saying, you know, that level of freedom, you don't want to contain that. You don't want to prescribe, you can be that free, but only like from 5 to 8 p.m., you know.
It seems like you need larger boundaries
and trust that
there's enough space
yes,
in between to be expressive.
And the respect needs to be both ways. So understand that companies have worked very hard to build a brand and worked very hard to build an empire, you know, and to have a group of young people come in kind of giving them the finger saying, you don't tell us what to do, basically compromises that and puts it at risk. Yeah. So it's not so much like, I'm not going to do that. It's a way of saying, how can we work together so that you're not putting me in a box, but I'm bringing the value add that clearly is going to happen.
And what does that sound like to you?
Yeah, I mean, we have to come to a mutual agreement at the end of the day. To work with one another in terms of moving forward. But I mean, you know, these two dimensions whereby you are outspoken. I mean, I like being in front of people. You know, I'm not a nerd. You know, but
it's cool, man.
Yeah.
I know. Yeah, I hate the library, although I go there. But I'm not that kind of person. But I'm able to do both, and you have very few people who can do that, and that's where, you know, these people are perceived to be different, and it becomes difficult as a company to try to incorporate the kind of people that have both dimensions. And in that way, you have to compromise. You know, I have to succumb to what the company's policies are saying. But also, I mean, the fact that I need to always follow the company's rules, even after hours, for me, it's just, I really can't do that unless I get paid to actually represent the company 24/7. I mean, yeah, so that's why.
So, what a fascinating discussion. It feels like there's an overwhelming sense that the company owns me when I work for it.
Exactly.
And this is something that I think we should explore. But first, I'd really love to hear your opinions during the break. We'll see you right after.
Personally, for me, I feel like, okay, according to the way I dress, I like taking out my legs, I like taking out my arms, like, I'm just that kind of person. I'm comfortable with my body. So, in a workplace, I think I would try and cover some of my thighs and just kind of look appropriate because, when you dress certain ways, you provoke certain people and then it goes down to sexual harassment and you don't want to put yourself in that kind of position because it just goes to you, the person that provoked the person who's harassing you.
I think I would. Reason for that being is, every company has their code of ethics and the code of conduct as well. So in order to comply with all the company rules, the rules and regulations, I would change my way of dressing and my attitude. I feel like you can't go to your place of work in the way you want to. Like, for example, at home I'd be in my PJ shorts. I can't show up at the office in my PJ shorts. So I think it matches, yes.
Respecting the company's policy, ethics, yeah.
And also regarding attitude, I think you just need to have a good understanding with your colleagues, so attitude matches.
I think an inappropriate way to conduct yourself is a way that would make other people uncomfortable, in a way, like making work difficult. Then that would be inappropriate. But everything else, you can just be yourself.
No. I think the environment will be too. Nothing would get done. Because personally, when I'm dressed in a professional manner, I'm more professional. But when I'm dressed like how I dress on a day-to-day basis, if I'm wearing a crop top, I'm not going to go to work to actually want to work. I'd go to work with the aim of turning up.
Yeah,
basically.
Wanting to go out, be seen, looking good, or
if you go to a shopping mall, you're not exactly going to wear like a professional business suit, for example. So I think it matters, and I wouldn't take trains to work.
Yeah.
Also, if you take trains to work, then what will you wear on weekends, and how will you look nice on weekends?
Yeah,
I
just think stick to your different dress codes. If it's for work, let it be for work. For the weekend, let it be for the weekend.
So welcome back, and we are talking about looks. Now, I remember the song, If Looks Could Kill, they probably would. And what I'm really thinking about today is what kind of advice could we give the users or the viewers when they are about to go for an interview? How should they dress? How are people going to naturally judge them as they walk through the door?
I think it's the age-old statement of first appearances last is important, but I think it's also, right now, it's very industry specific. I've mentioned I'm in an IT company. I look for how a person appears, not so much as what they look like, but are they confident? Are they comfortable? Because I'm more concerned with the value they're bringing, and you can't bring value if you're not yourself. So pretty much what we've been talking about earlier, I think taking care of your appearance is more important. Taking pride in your appearance is more important. For example, if I use myself, I tend to favor black. It's easy. You can use a lot of different combinations. So I always spice things up with red lipstick or flowers in my hair or whatever it is. And I think that adds some kind of pizzazz that you own who you are. And when I see somebody come for an interview, and even, developers who are typically jeans and t-shirts kind of guys, they come in and they look good, they look neat and tidy, and they look like they are comfortable in themselves. That's far more important than the physical, what they're wearing. I do think there is a level of decorum around showing too much, especially for the young ladies. I do think that there are items of clothing that are not business appropriate, that might be nightclub appropriate or weekend appropriate. I certainly wouldn't be comfortable if a young lady came for an interview wearing hot pants or a crop top. I don't think that's business appropriate, But if I met her on the weekend and she was like, oh, I heard you're in IT and you're the HR person, can I give you my CV? Absolutely. The weekend, what you're wearing on the weekend, I've put it into context, that's fine. But arriving at our business, I would expect that just a little bit more appropriate cover up. And I think that would be my only application on that.
So that would be the framework that you look at, the lens. What about hygiene?
Yeah, tough one, because there's a lot of aspects to personal hygiene, depending on where the person's coming from and their access to being able to maintain personal hygiene. I have had to have those conversations with employees.
I mean, tell us about some extreme examples you might have had.
I've had somebody who didn't ever brush their teeth, and they were a smoker. They still are a smoker, which is not attractive visually. And the problem is, if you're working on your own in a corner, that's fine. But this particular position was interacting with a team and also going to see the clients. So he had terrible breath, and his teeth really were in a bad state in terms of plaque and stains and things like that. And eventually I had to have the conversation and discuss why it was an issue. So, I don't want to prescribe how you look after your teeth, but in this circumstance, your breath is actually offending people. Very awkward conversation.
Teppo, how does this all sound, this conversation?
As a student, I would say that, when I'm looking for a job, when I'm applying for a job, I would have to, because I'm desperate, I need a job, I'm broke. All students are broke.
Not if you can buy 2,200.
You look totally broke.
You can't have a net worth to these. They're not assets, they're depreciating every day. There are those, honestly, when I'm a student applying for a job, I would have to conform to whatever the company wants me to do. But there might be some difficult decisions taking place. There are permanent decisions and there are temporary decisions. How I look, how I dress, I wouldn't wear torn jeans. I would wear, your normal chinos, suit and tie. But then the guy says, nah, you need to cut your hair. I'm like, oh my God, don't do that. Depends, but if I really need the job, I have to cut my hair, and that would be very uncomfortable for me. I would be very sad. Or if I even have tattoos on me, I'd have to always cover my wrist and all of that, that would be very uncomfortable. But it's about, if I had to open my own company, I would do my own thing. But because I have to go work for someone else and I need the job, I need to conform to whatever he has to say.
If you had your own company and you had somebody with terrible bad breath or body odor, how would you deal with the situation?
I think based on my clients or whoever I work with, I would have to see if that would affect my business. It's all about how it affects your product or your service. If that doesn't affect bad breath, I think it will affect, but if tattoos are not a problem and we create awareness, don't judge a book by its cover, we provide services, we're intellectuals. It's not about what you see, it's about what you get, I could promote it, and it ends up not being even a problem and actually being reliable and people actually referring to us and we're actually making good business. It's all about people just don't want to mess up their brands because they built it for over hundreds and hundreds of years and they're not willing to actually change that quickly for just someone who's feeling like they want to just come and just be themselves.
Here's a question. Do you think students take their appearance seriously enough before an interview?
Yes, I think so.
Do you think they spend more time on their appearance than doing research on the company?
I think from where I come from, I think they do more research. I think appearance, it's for me, appearance means a lot to me. But to most students, especially academics, from Wits, Wits students they would research a company and actually try to be on top of things, answering questions, try to be as presentable as they can. But I think they would go for the just simple look. But as for me, I'm like, I would just go out. I would be looking good at the same time having research. That's why I'll be able to do both. But from Vid's point of view, I think it's just...
So we spoke about a few things that we shouldn't do. What are the 5 things that would strike you out, or a few things that would really, it would almost shut down the interview? So inappropriate clothes.
I think personal hygiene, where it's within the person's control. I don't have any expectations about deodorant or perfume or what have you. I do have expectations about being clean. Clean hands, clean fingernails, good smelling breath. I would definitely, I think, for me, one of the fastest ways to create a bad impression is to arrive late without having made any attempt to contact. I interview about 40 students a year for our internship program.
So what are the things that are coming up for you when you're hiring interns?
So pretty much what we've been speaking about. I think we're all on the same page with the yeses and nos. The one thing that is important to me is if somebody's running late is to make some attempt to let the company know. I do interview around 40 to 50 graduates a year for our internship program. So I have a lot of experience with the students having just left university or currently in university coming for job interview. And I can handle most things, especially with the girls, I feel very comfortable to guide them. Often I separate the genders and I send one of my senior managers in with the guys just to give them some tips, and then with the girls I do the same. But the one thing that personally I draw a line on is the fashion of having the jeans below the bum with the underpants or the boxer shorts showing. And I did have somebody arrive at his internship interview dressed like that, and I asked him to go to the bathroom and fix his appearance because that wasn't appropriate in the workplace. I just don't feel that underwear is workplace visible.
What about sunglasses?
Sunglasses on the head, yes. It's a pet peeve for me, but that's what people do. And this is not a generational thing or a gender thing. This is some people are sunglasses on the head.
I'm saying sunglasses on.
Wearing sunglasses in the inside.
Yeah, arriving for the interview, sunglasses on.
My first thought would be they were hungover, so then they're not on to a good start from an impression. If they communicated that there was a reason why they were wearing sunglasses, but I probably, the kind of person I am, I would comment on it and ask them if there was a reason. I don't have an issue with caps. If people are wearing caps and they want to remain wearing caps, that doesn't bother me. And style of clothing doesn't bother me. I think it's just more behavioral items. I think the last thing that would give me an impression of them is how their body language was, how they sat. You know, slouching, chewing gum, the disinterested behavior or kind of disengaged behavior is telling me or appearing to tell me that you're not interested and we're just wasting each other's time. So typically in that case I cut the interview short immediately and make it quite clear that it appears that you're not interested. So either we restart or we part ways.
This has been a great talk, and I'm sure, Tsepo, you've learned a lot in what is possible. Wouldn't it be amazing that in any future interviews we could just be ourselves? It's been a great episode. I hope to see you soon. Please let us know any questions that you might have in terms of looks, how to get yourself ready for an interview, or what we should be looking at for future episodes. This is the Career Connect. See you next time.